Right, Liam, let's talk about you. Let's start with a slightly regressive step in terms of the second fight against Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
Walk me through that rematch.
It was just a nightmare from start to finish for me, Sam. Hindsight's a great thing, and obviously when we announced the rematch for June 17th, we had the press conference Tuesday, the gloves are off on Thursday, Friday in the gym, I'd done me back and horrendous, couldn't walk straight, I was lopsided, I had to go through all the process of, so I pulled out, got sent for MRIs, Eubank's team wanted I had to go and have an MRI scan after Dr. Eubank's team imposed on me, and I had a bulge on my disc, and the rematch then got announced for July, which was never ever agreed, as if I was going to pull out of a fight in June and be ready for July with the back injury I had. So they forced the date upon me, September the 2nd. It was one day over the contract extension for Eubank with BOXXER. It got very messy, like if I don't take this fight, my contract void and I'll be took to court. And look, hindsight's great. I wish I called the bluff now because I'd won the first fight. I should have just pulled out the set. But I thought, you know what? If I do the weight, I'll knock him out again. I'll beat him again. And that was it. That was what I thought. And that was my process going in. And obviously, I'd done the weight and got in the ring, and I just had absolutely nothing in the tank. And that was it. And I thought, adrenaline, the crowd, I'll beat him again. And I didn't. And no one paid a bigger price than me. I got slaughtered of people, and I already got stitched up for the rematch anyway off BOXXER. I'm not Chris Eubank Jr. I've got less money to fight him again. It just doesn't make sense. But no one paid a bigger price than me, and that was just the whole issue of the Eubank
Is that
Jr.
why?
match.
I mean, I know I've seen that you've had a few swipes at Ben Shalom. I mean, they put you into the first fight. Why? I mean, is it simply the commercial discussions that you had with BOXXER that, in the end, brought about the end of your relationship with them? Yeah,
it was just a lot of things that was not what was said that never got stuck to. I didn't like a lot of things that went on regarding the rematch. I didn't like the fact that a conversation that we had got forgot about, and it was like never really got had about the rematch clause. A conversation was, do you want a rematch clause? So we sit and talk numbers. Said, yeah, okay, we'll talk numbers. I beat him once, I'll beat him again. And then the rematch got put to me that, we'll use the option we've got on you as the rematch clause. And it was the conversation we had got forgot about. And like I said, who knocks Chris Eubank Jr. out, who's never been knocked out before, and fight him again for less money? That doesn't make sense. And no one would ever believe that if I told them that, but that happened.
But how do you get, I'm not wishing to defend Ben in that situation, but how do you get yourself in a situation, it's your commercial discussion, you're the one that's doing your own contract, how do you get yourself in a situation where you're getting less money, given the fact that you're now the person going into that fight with the win?
It was also clever on his behalf, and maybe silly on my behalf, but he used the option that was in a contract as the rematch, but like I say, totally forgot the phone call. Look, do you want a rematch clause in? We can sit and talk numbers. I said yes. We discussed the numbers, obviously, after the fight, and that never ever happened. But
you're not with him anymore, so it's probably academic.
Oh, of course, yeah, I'm not.
Who are you with now?
I'm just with Matchroom.
Okay.
I'm back in Matchroom, yeah.
Is it a long-term deal, or?
I've got a two-fight deal, but everything is on the basis of winning. I lose a fight, I'm done, Spencer. I'm 36 now.
You were just going to fight Josh Kelly, weren't you? What happened with that?
I had a great camp after the injury. I got over my injury. I had a very good camp, and I was in very good shape for the Josh Kelly fight. And I just, I got a virus. I got sick, and it was only a week before. So once bitten, twice shy after the Eubank performance. If I never had the Eubank rematch the way it went,
you might take a risk on it.
I would have took the risk on it. I definitely would have. I know the character I am. I definitely would have. But I could never ever be remembered. I could never go out like that. I've already took enough stick for the Eubank rematch, and Eubank Jr. won. I was 35. I was great. I was fit. I was athletic. Eubank 2, I had a stinker of a performance. I'm finished. It doesn't make, with no miles in between. That is the world. And that's why I've got thick skin, and that's why it's time for me to prove that. I've always been a naturally fit person. I live a clean life. I don't take drugs, and stuff like that. I play football.
You get sent off in football matches, don't you?
Yeah, I got sent off.
That's just his hot head, mate. Listen,
I got sent off Friday, didn't I?
You've got an opponent here who's a young guy who hasn't got a big name, a big profile. He's coming through and he's a dangerous guy.
He is.
Good fighter, relentless, 19-0, Aaron McKenna. I mean, who chose that fight and how did that materialise? And what do you benefit from that?
There's just pros and cons to it, but that sums up again, without, blowing my own trumpet, I've took on everyone at every level. Everyone that's been put towards me, and going on about Chisora before, I've been cut from the same cloth. Everyone that's been put to me, even now, I'm fighting an unbeaten kid who's 25, 26 years of age, on the rise after being out the ring for nearly over 16 months and coming off the performance I'm coming off the back of. But make no marks about it. I'll put in a performance that I should have done against Eubank in the rematch, and I'll make you think he's not finished yet, and that's why. Another reason why I've took it, and I'm not in a position. I don't need warm-up fights. I'm 36. I've been pro a long time, and I think Adam McKenna's a star that's made for me. I won't have to chase Adam McKenna around the ring. He's big. He comes to fight, but it'll be his downfall because he's very green, shall we say. And I think it'll play into my hands. Yeah, massively. Look, you can match me with... I said after I beat Anthony Fowler, along the lines of, you can match me with a number of fighters who were on that bill at the time. I was 154. I fought Fowler, JJ Metcalf fought Kieran Conway, Troy Williamson fought Ted Cheeseman, all 154s. Match me with any of them at the time. They're very good fighters for 4, 5, 6 rounds. Adam McKenna will be very competitive for 5, 6 rounds. But then experience and know-how will take its toll, and I'll take over from then. What's
the roadmap for you? You come through that one, because obviously you're going to be wanting title shots straight away. That you're going to be chasing the bigger names. Have you got any idea of the roadmap? I said I was never ever going to give anyone leeway and anyone a green light to think, messing around, you leave him. He hasn't fought for that long. So once I win, I'll be very vocal about who I want and what way I want to go, and a lot of it will be towards the top of the bill on that. I think I'm on that show maybe for a reason. If the winner doesn't get them big fights they deserved or the big fights we spoke about, but once I win, I'll then start mentioning names. I'm not going to mention names now because it gives them a little bit of a green light to think, see you later, he hasn't boxed for so long.
Is there an end goal this year? I mean, you want to be successful. Do you see yourself, honestly, being able to get a shot at a world title anytime soon? I do, with the middleweights, the way they've gone, the way the division is at the moment. I definitely do. I beat Chris in the first fight. I was mandatory for Johnny Beck right away because of my good ranking. Now, I think if I win now, look, again, I'd give every penny I've got in the bank to have a Eubank Jr 3 fight. That eats away at me every night. And
seems like the obvious fight, though, doesn't it? If you both,
I think it's possible with me going on the undercard, with me.
Yeah, it's probably adds insult to injury, doesn't it? That you're sitting on their undercard.
It does, yeah, it does. Like I said, and especially the numbers I made and they're getting is just. Yeah. But obviously, like I said, I know I would never get that anyway. That's through the names and what have you. But I do think it's more realistic now with me being on the bill with the Riyadh season involved in it. Look, Riyadh season's working, you just need dance partners. And that's all Turki Al-Sheikh's bothered about. He's not like wanting to sign Liam Smith, he's not wanting to sign, names. He's just, you put a fight to him, look, we'll make Chris v. Conor, yeah, I'll have that. And he'll probably put a figure out and he'll pay for it. And that's the figure that the promoters have got to work to. And that's even with chief supports and maybe undercard fights. And that's what I knew what was going on with the Wembley show where I was meant to be on the Josh Kelly fight. I was talking to Eddie and I was talking to Frank Warren, and they kind of pulled their deals off the table for me once Turki had okayed me v Josh on that bill, because nobody really wants to upset the apple cart, and once he's give us okay for the show, he wants that fight on the bill. So that's what I mean. I think if I win, I'm back in the mix. There's a number of dance partners for me. And
does it have to be winning a certain way, or does it just get the job done?
No, I do think you've got to win a certain way now. It's a shot window for this, only because of the Turki Al-Sheikh, the Riyadh season. Yeah. I think everything's shot windows at the moment. Look, for me, take that out of it. I need to just win to announce I'm back. But I also do think I need to win and look good to get myself, the sense winner stays on the Riyadh season bills and what have you. But we all know what it means. You see now, Turkey took a shine to Mark Chamberlain because he liked the fight he was involved in.
Yeah.
And there was all talks that if he beat Padley, he was fighting for a world title, which he was never ever ready for. But because he liked the style, he liked the fight he was in, I'm confident he'll like my style. You
mentioned it a moment ago, the Ben Eubank fight. Where are you on that fight? How do you think that one goes?
I think it's a closer fight now than I mentioned. Like when it first got made, obviously before I fought Chris, going back to Crawford and Canelo, Conor Benn's next fight should be at 147, so he's not big enough for 160. I think my fight with Chris plays a big part in Conor fighting at 160.
Right.
You're forgetting, well, you're not forgetting, I mean, people probably forget that Conor had the pull and power last time to make the fight at 157. When he failed the drug test, he lost that. It was going to be all 160. So I think my performance with Chris in the first fight makes Conor they probably haven't even argued about 157 this time round. They probably thought the 160 is okay.
Yeah.
I know they've put the rehydration clause in, but I do think it is a closer fight now than I thought before I fought Chris.
Who did you pick before?
I picked Chris. I still pick Chris now. I pick Chris on points now, but I won't be surprised if Conor catches Chris and, I'll be, oh my God, Conor Benn knocked Chris Eubank out and the shoe on the other foot. I won't be surprised if Chris stops Conor. Conor's been down before off littler people than Chris, so I won't be surprised either way.
Either of these two got a world title in their immediate future. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders said to me in his inimitable way, not why he's got a hole in his arse, will Chris Eubank Jr. win a world title. Where are you on either one of those, winning a world title at whichever weight class that Conor ends up fighting in after this fight?
Yeah, look, I think Conor's got more of a chance than Chris at 147. I don't think Barrios is a world beater. I think Conor's on the verge of fighting. I think that is a very, very winnable fight for Conor. I don't think Conor wins a world title at 160. So... And I think Chris is a long way off at 160 because of the champions now. You've got Johnny Beck, who's the best of the bunch by a long stretch at the moment. Hamza's fighting Carlos Adames, so that you could say that's more of a winnable one for Chris. But you ask me now, Chris v Adames, I pick Adames. Chris v Hamza, I pick Hamza.
Yeah.
So
that's
do you think Conor going up to 160 will be able to make 147 again? Because I think he was quite big at 147 anyway. And you know what it's like when you go up in weight and come back down.
I think through one camp, I don't think Conor's going to put a lot of muscle on to then not get back to 147.
Can he be walking it? His dad told me, in no unequivocal terms, Nigel, that my son walks around at 175. Is that right? Because I saw Conor at Christmas 18 months ago, and he didn't look 12 and a half stone to me.
Terence Crawford posted saying today that he was
186. 186. I've seen it. 186. And I was working.
It's possible.
I was working the number. Yeah, definitely. I don't think that's like wow. Conor Benn's walking around because that's. So what's that? That's a
12 and a half stone.
Yes, but that's easy doable, I think.
That's a lot heavy.
No, but that fighters do that.
It's a 2 stone drop, which. Again, I think Conor's not the type to walk. That's what I'm on about with Chris with this rehydration clause. I think it may be an issue now.
Right.
Before, maybe 12 months, 18 months ago, Chris is not the type. I had the first head-to-head with Chris to announce the first fight.
Yeah.
He was in not far off the shape he was in when we had the weigh-in 10 weeks later.
So he walks around like
and I was a total different... Now, people have got different bodies. I don't think Chris carries a lot of fat. He finds it hard to cut weight, but also doesn't put a lot back on. The people who put a lot of weight back on are the people who lose a lot of weight. And people's body types are different. You've seen Canelo. I remember thinking it was a bit of a... I knew when I fought Canelo, Simon, I put 16 pounds on after a weigh-in. Now, I remember thinking, it's a bit of a myth, Canelo, 25. If he puts 20 on, which is a lot, I put 16 on. I wasn't bothered. But then when we got in the ring, I thought, you have put 25 on. You have put 25 on. He had the Under Armour t-shirt on that was bursting off him. And it was only as he took the robe off. Now, I didn't think, but I just thought, wow, you have put that weight on. And it was like just saying a sponge. I was so confident at the weigh-in. I remember just thinking, right. And obviously, my whole process with the Canelo fight was like Cotto Margarito. I just thought, he won't hurt me. He won't budge me. And after 6... he's going to find it hard to get back to 154, which he stripped naked at the weigh-in. I thought I'll break him late on, and that was... I knew I was never going to match him for ability, but I just thought, right, you won't budge me, and I'll break you late on. And then at the weigh-in, I still had the same thoughts. I just thought, right, I'm a bigger man than you. And then obviously in the ring, he was like a barrel from the side, and I just thought, you have put 25 pounds on.